My mom is so upset. She found out that her special Italian turnover, Pizza Hut's now got one for lunch, too. Calizza, they call it. How they got the recipe, I don't know. Maybe my cousin Angelo gave it to him. It's got sausage and green peppers, a delicious tomato sauce, even a light crust, just like Mama's. And they serve it in 5 minutes, guaranteed.
Calizza Italian turnover at Pizza Hut.
Mama, they might have a Calizza, but you still get me.
8's your place for Heart to Heart, weekdays at 3.
We'll return after these messages. The Disney Sunday Movie, brought to you by Snickers Bar. Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies.
Talking to clients all day long can make me real hungry. When I'm hungry, I'm not a very good listener.
Snickers satisfies you.
To tell you the truth, I keep a Snickers bar in the third drawer of my desk. It takes the edge off my hunger and fills me up just fine.
Packed with peanuts, peanut butter nougat, caramel, and milk chocolate. Mmm.
Satisfies you.
Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies.
When it seems like forever to my next meal, Snickers holds me over beautifully.
You got the dress from Penny.
And at an even better price.
On sale?
Better.
How?
Connections.
With AT&T Opportunity Calling, you too have connections. While making your usual calls with AT&T Long Distance, you can now save at JCPenney. You can also save on appliances, even airfare. Look in our new catalog. You'll find lots of new ways to help your long-distance dollar go further than ever. AT&T Opportunity Calling. Another reason AT&T is the right choice.
Here's a special doll for your child.
Of all the babies in this beautiful world, you are the one for me. You're my child. See, you're just like me. Comb your hair the way I do, dress like I do too. You can do it. Yes. He's soft as it can be, little arms that reach for me. Mommy's here.
There's a My Child doll that looks like your child.
You are the one for me. You're my child.
Monday! It must be the luck of the Irish.
What are you babbling about?
Leprechauns! St. Patty's Day is looking up.
We call one.
On Hardcastle and McCormick.
Done at last.
Well, geez, how about some M&M's?
Hi, kids.
Wow!
Where M&M's chocolate candies go, there's bound to be some fun, you know. It's a bright and colorful wonderland. All the world loves M&M's. Pure milk chocolate joy for everyone.
M&M's chocolate candies. The milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
See you later.
Sara Lee introduces Bagel Time Bagels. The bagels you want to take time to eat.
Eat 'em slow, eat 'em slow. Come on, Mom, eat 'em slow. Take your time, take your time. Or that'll lose your mind.
Leave it to Sara Lee to make Bagel Time. The bagels that are big, crusty, and chewy.
Come on, Papa, eat 'em slow, oh, yeah.
Take my word for it. When the door closes, the light goes out.
Of course it does. Don't be ridiculous.
It's all happening between Perfect Strangers, premiering Tuesday, March 25th. Tuesday, when Angela sets Tony up on a blind date.
She's elegant and sophisticated. She's French.
So are poodles.
It's a real eye-opener.
I really had a great night.
Well, who says that it's over?
Who's the boss? Then it's Growing Pains for Mike.
Dad, you gave me noogies on the evening news.
What's a kid to do?
Gotta give me one good reason to go on living, Mom. The Solid Gold Dancers.
Tuesday.
Myrtle at Myrtle Beach. Oh, what's that? And McDonald's breakfast deals. Terrific. Myrtle at Old Faithful.
What's terrific about it?
Oh, it erupts every 59 minutes.
No, the deal.
Well, you buy any breakfast sandwich and large drink, and you get hot hash browns free. Myrtle on water skis.
Last long?
And 2 or 3 minutes. That's it.
The free hash browns.
Well, only limited time. Boy, here's something you're gonna like.
Free hash browns when you buy any breakfast sandwich and large drink.
Myrtle with Mamu, the kissing whale.
Hi, I'm Candace Early, Donna on ABC's daytime drama All My Children. You can see All My Children here on Channel 8 every weekday at noon, right after you've watched Dayline with Leanne Taylor. Dayline is the best way to find out what Tulsa offers women, with features on things to do and places to go, along with answers to some of the problems faced by today's women. So watch Dayline with Leanne Taylor every weekday at 11:30, and then stay with Channel 8 for All My Children at noon. Remember, 8's your place.
Play it safe. Buckle up.
You changed the way you look. Can you see that? Up close, it's exciting. And I'll tell you something, darling. You look marvelous.
No other taste attracts so much attention.
Absolutely marvelous.
Diet Pepsi, the most refreshingest invention.
And not only do you look marvelous, my little 12-ounce darling, but you taste marvelous.
No other taste attracts so much attention.
You come here often. I'm kidding you. I'm a kid.
It's Daddy's birthday, and I don't know what to get him.
What do you do now? What can you give him? He means so much to you. Sometimes an old familiar friend can find the answer you've been looking for. Crayola draws you closer. Crayola draws you closer.
Mixing the pine oil is okay for big jobs, but for small jobs, who needs the hassle? You don't. Now there's Pine Magic, the power of a pine cleaner, and no mix, no rinse spray. Pine Magic cleans, disinfects, and deodorizes with that clean smell you pine for. So come on, try Pine Magic. After all,
I'm not ready to go yet, okay? I'm not ready. You gotta wait. I got shit to do. I'm in the middle of something, all right? Just hold on.
Watch your mouth or don't come in here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, people, come on, we're adults here. You know what? What is the point?
Yeah, we're adults here. I got a fucking Burger King fucking thing on my head. We're all fucking adults here, guys. People in my chat, 2 words. What are they? 2 words. Let me see the chat flood. Let me see the chat flood. 2 words. Okay, next caller. Please. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which translate in American to dick and balls.
I got flip-flops. These are my flip-flops. Yeah, I really like my flip-flops because I can put them on. Because look, watch me put them on. I can put them on all by myself. Watch me put them on. Look, are you watching? Look, these are my flip-flops.
Thanksgiving Day. I remember it clearly. It was Thanksgiving Day. I was inserting myself in somebody else's fucking business as a cash grab, and you know. This channel is harsh reality. Karen Yak se jodió la sucia vida. Amen.
This is Jonathan Lee Riches. I have cheeseburgers. I'm gonna put cheese on them. I'm gonna make sure that I have my hamburgers because I'm a big boy now and I can make the hamburgers. My mom lets me use the stove now.
And I'm just like, wow, I like receipts, and they brought receipts. Like they had evidence to back up everything they said. And I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be another side to this, right? Like this can't, no, this is too fantastic.
Yeah, because you're not going to just jump to the conclusion that there's a conspiracy amongst cops to cover up a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, cops and just like soccer moms and shit. Like that's what made it even crazier. Like,
yeah, get it, Betty. Yeah,
did you have a close relationship with your mom?
Get it, Betty.
Oh, of course, I still do.
Yeah.
my older sister was kind of sad. She was more of the prissy girl that like going
That is
and
the
getting their hair
best
done
shit
and,
fucking
shopping for the
ever.
dresses with mommy. I was the tomboy that liked playing with the people.
Shout out to Cherry for just being just easily the most faithful and loyal supporter that I've ever had. That someone could have that tenacity with loyalty. And I'm really blessed to have someone like Cherry be part of this channel and in my life. So it means a lot. And yes, I named him after Mr. T and Rocky. Say, woman. Say, woman. Say, woman. Since your old man ain't got no heart, why don't you come down to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man. Oh my God, I'm so in love with this little dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Oh, say bye. Say bye. Oh, I love you too. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you. Bye, guys. Woo! People, welcome back. Some of you are joining me for the first time. Others were here earlier. I was live for 3 hours before on unrelated topics. But it's good to see you guys. Oh man. I'm excited about this one. Because Turtle Boy dropped excuse me. Turtle Boy dropped an article in regards to Chief Helena Rafferty. Hold on, what's going on? I'm supposed to mute that. Okay. Because I've got Howie his stream going on in the background here. Just waiting for when Turtle Boy goes on there. Let's see. Nope, my audio should be good, Cherry. Thank you. But yeah, I think what you were hearing was what was coming through my headphones. So yeah, we're gonna listen to, of course, it's been kind of developed more or less a little bit of a tradition for me to stream Turtle Boy on Howie Carr whenever he makes a Howie Carr appearance. I really like Howie Carr so far. Seems like a really cool dude. And I love that he's been opening up his platform to inform people of what's been going on and giving Turtle Boy a voice, and supporting Turtle Boy in his actions, because he is clearly a very common sense individual, Howie Carr meaning, and Turtle Boy as well, obviously. But I was specifically just addressing, I was specifically talking about Howie Carr, and he obviously sees that there's something seriously wrong with everything, the whole reason we're all here. So we're going to sit in and listen in on Turtle Boy and what he has to say.
I'm going to read. I don't think I have enough time to. Well, actually, I do. I think I do have time to read Turtle Boy's article. And yes, Bob Brown, I'm on it. I promise. So I'm gonna go ahead and read that. And he's got the incident report pulled up here. And let's see what this says. I mean, obviously the victim is redacted from here. And he's 67 years old. Jesus Christ, dude. So the chief of police hit a 67-year-old pedestrian with her car. I mean, the irony in all this is amazing, considering why we're all here. Because you've got Chris Albert, who killed somebody with his car while intoxicated, allegedly. We also have John O'Keefe, who was killed, but his girlfriend, Karen Reed, is being charged with killing him with her car. And now the chief of police in Canton has hit a pedestrian with her car. Okay. I don't know what's going on in the water of people who are driving in Canton who are somehow connected to this case. Very weird. But the thing is two of these things happened for sure. And the one in the middle, none of us believe actually happened. As a matter of fact, the federal government doesn't believe that it actually happened. So that's going to be interesting. So let me go ahead and read this real quick. It says here, we have received the police report from Rentham Police confirming the story we published last night about Canton Police Chief Helena Rafferty hitting an elderly man in a crosswalk while driving on February 16th. Wow, it's already been, Jesus, like a month and a half. WPD was very helpful and responsive in getting me this report, which they emailed to me this morning without ever submitting a request. That's interesting. It's interesting that the victim's address was not redacted, but Rafferty's address was redacted. That's also very interesting. And all this information is here. You have all of the assisting patrols. You have the patrolmen, 2 sergeants, 2 patrolmen, and 2 sergeants responding to this. And it goes on to say, possibly because she doesn't want people to Google her and find out. Possibly because she doesn't want people to Google her and find out that she lives in a $1.8 million house, because people might start asking questions about how a public servant can afford to live in a 7,000 square foot mansion in Norfolk. Either way, she seems to be getting special treatment and consideration that the elderly man she mowed down did not get. This is why officers tried calling Rentham Police Chief Bill McGrath within minutes of finding out Rafferty was involved. Chief McGrath needs to explain why the victim's address wasn't redacted, but Rafferty's was. It's a great point. Yesterday, we reported that our source claimed that it may have been a town-owned vehicle that Rafferty used to strike the victim. This was confirmed by the police report. Yeah, which means that those of you paying taxes in Canton basically funded the vehicle that you obviously had no intention of happening, but the chief of police ended up using to, as Turtle Boy put it, mow down a 67-year-old pedestrian. Rafferty apparently, dude, look at this house, bro. All right. Don't worry, I'm keeping my eye on the on Howie there. We got 5 minutes before he's scheduled to come on. Look at that house. Look at that house. How does any public servant afford that? And in corruption, in organized crime, the money always flows up. And she is the chief of police. So the police report clearly states that the victim was walking with a cane and wearing a reflective yellow vest. Yet Rafferty claims she did not see him. Okay, wait, what? Walking with a cane and wearing a reflective yellow vest, not just a bright ass yellow vest, but one that has reflectors on it, one that is reflective. Yet Rafferty claims she did not see him. The responding officer made sure to put in the report that the intersection was poorly lit. Chief Rafferty was also requested to be breathalyzed. Also wisely requested to be breathalyzed. On February 16th, 2024, at approximately 1:88:23 hours or 18:32 hours, Sergeant Eaton and Officer Crossman, and was dispatched to Creek Street at South Street in report of a motor vehicle versus pedestrian crash. Sergeant Eaton and Sergeant Morris arrived at the scene before my arrival and assisted the pedestrian, identified as Michael, until Retham Fire arrived to evaluate him. Michael sustained a laceration to the right side of his head and was complaining of left knee pain and was transported to Sturdy Hospital by Norfolk Fire. Wow. Now, let me do this real quick, guys. I just want to get to... Okay. Michael was walking with a cane on South Street and wearing a reflective yellow vest and had just entered the roadway crosswalk South Street, Creek Street, when he was struck by motor vehicle number 1, Massachusetts registration, blah, blah, blah. The operator was Helena Rafferty, stated that she was turning left onto Creek Street from South Street and did not see the pedestrian before the crash, probably on her phone. Helena stated that she immediately put her vehicle in park and exited the vehicle to assist him and did not move the vehicle before our arrival. I observed motor vehicle 1 at the scene and took photographs of the damage and location. See attached photographs. This was a white scuff mark on the passenger front bumper from either Michael's person or his cane. No other damage was noted, and it did not require a tow as it was operable. I observed the area of the crash to be poorly lit with only one fluorescent light. While taking photographs, Roma Pritza came over to me and informed me that she had witnessed the crash. At the scene, Roma stated that the female operator was not operating erratically before the crash. Roma provided an email witness statement, and Helena requested that she be breathalyzed at the scene. Using a dragger BPT, I initiated the test number 0.000009 and administered the test, having Helena blow into it. The result was 000, which I wrote into the Draeger log. Helena was issued a civil citation for failing to yield to a pedestrian in a crosswalk. No further information is available at this time. I really hope that this pedestrian takes action, honestly. All right, let's get here, folks. All right. So he's still got commercials going, so we're just gonna wait on Howie to introduce Turtle Boy and then bring him on. But yeah, that's a crazy, crazy story, dude. Now, I mean, it just sounds to me like she just wasn't looking where the fuck she was going. But I mean, if you're a chief of police and you're driving around in a city
vehicle. And why are you driving around in a city vehicle if you're not on duty, first of all? And second of all, especially if you live in a $1.7 million home, why aren't you driving your own car? Why's that got to be on? Hold on. Oops. Okay, sorry. I'm getting it back. Don't worry. I'm getting it back. I promise.
For all of you, I think you'll be really interested.
Okay. I mean, based on their rules, sure. Based on their methods of investigation, but the thing is this is not the I forget the name of the town already. I don't have the article pulled up in front of me anymore, but this is not a Canton investigation as far as the incident taking place. So, you know, I still give them the benefit of the doubt of being able to conduct a thorough investigation, but Turtle Boy writing this article kind of ensures that happening. Making sure, okay, motherfuckers, make sure you do this shit by the book. I don't give a shit who she is. I don't give a shit how rich she is. I don't give a shit she's the chief of police or the mayor. We need to get this done. So, all right, here we go.
Starts in about 2 weeks. It gets crazier. Today, Turtle Boy, Aiden Kearney, who's been covering the case and is charged with witness intimidation, so-called. He reported that, now, first of all, remember, Karen Reed is charged with killing her boyfriend, second-degree murder for backing into him, running over him in a snowstorm in January of 2022. The FBI says their accident reconstruction investigators say it couldn't have happened. It couldn't have happened, all right? Now, it turns out that 7 weeks ago, the police chief of the town where Karen Reed is charged with running over her boyfriend, the police chief in a nearby town ran over a 67-year-old man with a cane in a crosswalk who was wearing a reflective vest. And it never came out. The police chief, a woman, a townie, part of the cabal that's been running Canton since the dawn of time, didn't bother to tell anybody that she had run over this guy. She didn't kill him, but he had to spend weeks in the hospital, supposedly had 9 surgeries. And there's an election pending today, probably they're pending tomorrow, to elect or not reelect some of the people who keep this cabal running in Canton. And probably half the people have already done early voting. This probably would have changed the results of the election. The townies may still be ousted. The McAlbert townies may still be ousted, but I don't think they would have been reelected if anyone had known that this was going on, that this police chief had run over somebody who was in a crosswalk, by the way. Joining us now is the guy who broke the story and has broken all these stories, Aiden Turtle Boy Kearney. This is a really wacky one, Turtle Boy. How did you got a tip, obviously, but the Rentham police, where this happened, they didn't hold anything back from you. It was almost like they were waiting for a call, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they couldn't wait. I mean, we went there and walked in, and Barbara, the lady who does records, wasn't in. And, we were told to call the next day. I didn't even have to call. The sergeant called me back this morning, and it's like, you're getting the report. They couldn't wait to get it to me right away. It was almost like they wanted to just absolve themselves from it and say, we're not part of this. We're not part of this dumpster fire. Because I'm sure they've seen all the coverage, and I mean, who wants to be associated with this sort of corruption?
Right. I know. But the police chief, it's interesting on the report that it says they get there at like 6:39, and at 6:46, 7 minutes later, they called the police chief to let him know that this has happened. And now today, the police chief in Rentham is saying, well, this is nothing out of the ordinary to be notified. I mean, this poor 67-year-old guy with the cane and the reflexive vest, he wasn't going to die or anything. Do they alert the chief to every accident like this with non-life-threatening injuries?
Apparently.
Great question.
Every time there's a fender bender in Rentham, I guess the police chief has to get a call on his personal cell phone and let him know that, chief, there's been an accident in town. But I'll tell you one thing, it's like,
what do you want me to do here?
Transparency. I mean, this happened 7 weeks ago, and she didn't feel the need to tell anybody about it, even though they're literally in the news every day. They're being audited. She claims that she welcomes the audit because they have nothing to hide and they're completely transparent. And yet she's hiding this.
Yeah.
She's hiding this. I mean, how do you hit somebody in a crosswalk who's wearing reflective gear? I mean, that's the whole point of that. The guy's going out of his way.
I hate laughing because I feel bad for the old man.
And she doesn't see him somehow. I mean, how is that possible if you're paying attention to the road?
I don't know. She did take a breathalyzer. She was smart enough to realize that there was going to be talk if she didn't take the breathalyzer. So she blew a zip.
But taking the breathalyzer is evidence that she knew this was going to be made public. So why then would she not tell the select board? Which she had a duty to tell because she was also driving a town-owned vehicle. Is she trying to save gas money? Why are you driving a town-owned vehicle?
There you
for
go.
Personal recreation in a town that you don't live in a town that you don't work in. Why was she driving that car? And so she had a duty to tell the select board about this, whether they know or don't know. If they know, then they covered it up because all 5 of them are in the bag for the good old boy network in that town.
Right.
If they weren't alerted, then that's just more evidence.
Well,
that
she's issued a statement this afternoon to the Globe, Turtle Boy.
Oh shit.
She said
I saw it, and she called it. She called it my vehicle. It's not your vehicle. It's the taxpayer's vehicle. You don't own that car.
Maybe she was looking for taillight pieces.
But she said, the chief said, let me read this from the Globe. The chief said that she, quote, immediately notified Canton officials as to what happened, unquote. Now, would this include Chris Albert, the selectman? Now, tell us about Chris Albert that she apparently notified. What's his background as for vehicles?
They have a similar background to Kennedy, I suppose. In 1994, Chris Albert was driving on I-95 in Attleboro when he at like 3 a.m, probably wasted, when he rear-ended a Hungarian immigrant by the name of Peter Berger and killed him.
Wow.
And he fled the scene. Then 2 days later, sobered up, turned himself in. He did 6 months in jail.
Wow.
And this never came out before he ran for selectman last year.
And
he
now
got elected.
since...
By the way, he's a MAGA guy in a town that voted, Biden won that town by like 30%. So that shows you how far the Albert name goes in that town. It transcends politics. It's basically like everybody in that town didn't graduate high school. It's the cool kids are running the town. And Chris Albert is a moron by all, appropriate measures. I think anybody that talks to him for more than 5 seconds would reach the same conclusion. So a guy that's this stupid, that literally killed a man in 1994 in a vehicle, is on the board of selectmen, apparently became aware that the police chief he hired and pays also hit somebody in a crosswalk. And ironically, the only person in town who's being charged with hitting someone with the car is Karen Reed, who the FBI said could not have possibly hit someone with the car.
I just said that too.
Let me read you her statement and get the reaction. Now that she's been busted after 7 weeks, after, using a town vehicle to run over a 67-year-old guy with a cane and a reflexive vest in a crosswalk on a Friday night, several towns over. This was an unfortunate accident, she said in her statement. Upon further reflection and considering the amount of attention that has been focused on Canton, I should have issued a statement sooner.
Oops.
Unquote.
She should have, now that she's got caught, she should have done that.
Wow.
You're right, she should have issued a statement sooner, but she didn't. And this is the problem in this town.
Twat.
They don't say anything until they get caught, until it's undeniable. I mean, why didn't she come forward and say this? If it was truly an accident, like she said, why wouldn't she say it? The answer is because she was driving a town-issued car. I mean, that's the real question.
Right.
Why aren't you driving your own vehicle? This woman lives in a $1.8 million house as a public servant, which to me leads to a lot more questions about her, quite frankly, how that's possible. Her ex-husband is a firefighter who is not on the mortgage, so she pays it all by herself. She's paid by the taxpayers. and she collects $1,200 a month in child support, even though all her children are grown adults. Like, I have a lot of questions about this woman. This is the
Turtle
same woman
Boy's
who
on
told
fire
people
right now.
to stop asking questions, stop, listening to quote unquote sensationalist media, aka Turtle Boy. Don't listen to that guy. That there was no evidence whatsoever of a cover up of the murder of John O'Keefe, when there is a mountain of evidence suggesting that. And she's the first person who went on record and said that what I was doing, my peaceful protesting, was actually witness intimidation.
It says here in a statement issued on her behalf Monday, the town doesn't have a PR person. Do you think she hired some PR people from?
She didn't say this. She didn't say this herself. She didn't say this herself.
No, it says in a statement released on her behalf Monday.
On her behalf,
Oh, for crying out
like
loud.
it was a flack. She hired a flack. It looks like.
Who does she think she is? The Queen of England? Like,
wow.
You're the PR spokesperson. You're the police.
That's what it looks like.
Town in Norfolk County.
It's funny. The police chief of Rentham has no problems answering his own emails and requests. Right? He didn't issue any statements through his PR person. He issued a statement himself. Right?
Unreal.
You're right. Since when does a small town police chief have a PR firm handling his work for him?
You know, I mean, how much money is this? I mean, how much money does this town waste on this nonsense in covering for these people, the good old boys club? And by the way, this is election interference. Right? This is very similar to the Hunter Biden laptop thing. They got news of this thing. If this story got out, it would be very bad for anyone who supported Helena Rafferty, which includes the two incumbents running for re-election on the Board of Selectmen, who both voted against the audit and support Helena Rafferty no matter what. But they covered this up so the people of Canton would not know. And a lot of them have already voted.
Right.
And you have these two reform candidates, these women who often get up at the meetings and roast Chris Albert and complain about him. I mean, the Canton Board of Selectmen meetings have become must-watch theater. You're just watching Chris Albert get roasted week after week after week.
That's
and he just
real,
sits there and he takes it.
That's
but
real.
these women almost have been cheated by this because this has intentionally been covered up by Rafferty and the Board of Selectmen.
The polls open tomorrow at 7 a.m. It's too early. It's too late to early vote, but you can
his
vote.
logic
Go
here
down
was
if you live in
hilarious.
Canton,
I love it.
7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Who should they vote for, Turtle Boy?
I would vote for Rita Lombardi and Trish Boyden, and on the school committee I vote for Jennifer O'Donnell, and for the town, whatever, I think it's Kathleen Holly. Just vote for all the new people who aren't incumbents. But that town needs to change. It's the most corrupt town in Massachusetts right now, which is really saying something, and it just needs to get fixed.
All right, Turtle Boy, you want to stick around for one more quick segment just to take a couple of calls, maybe? Okay, if you got any more questions, there's a lot going on still here with this case. We'll be back with Turtle Boy in just a moment. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Oh man, these get better.
We'll be right.
These get better and better every time, dude. Dude, Turtle Boy, first of all, was absolutely on fire right there. It was amazing. And then him talking about these women who go up at the select board meetings, and now it's like it's like theater watching it. And it's true. I love watching the select board meetings. I don't even live there. I live in fucking Tennessee. Okay. And I love watching the select board meetings for the exact reason that Turtle Boy just stated, because it's a fucking show watching these women stand up there and roast the fuck out of Chris Albert. It's so much fun. I can't get enough of it, if I'm being completely honest. So for him to the way his logic there was just really, really funny to me, because he's like, these women who roast him, they were cheated. They were cheated because he allows this chief of police to drive around all over town, fucking hit people with her fucking car, with the people's fucking car. And he just sits there and he's cheating them out of shit to roast Chris Albert for letting her do this. That shit is some fucking troll shit, bro. Oh my God. Wait, what? Oh my God, what's happening? Do I got time? We got
We got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a.
Thank you so much, Buzzing for Truth, as always, to hear me giggle. Right on. Thank you. And for those of you who've been watching my streams unrelated the last couple of days, I have been covering Cuck Church, and now you guys know why I'm never changing the super chat dance. That's why it stays. If you know, you know, right? Let's see where we're at. Looks like Howie's still waiting to be brought back on. Still some ads, some commercials. This is a fantastic conversation between Turtle Boy and Howie Carr. And I am absolutely here for it. It's fun. Yeah, no, the Cuck Church dance for super chats stays. It stays. And now you know why. Those of you who are new to the channel, now you know why. And again, I love that being completely unrelated, that image of that idiot fucking ended up on somebody's protest sign in front of that courthouse. And that reminds me, big shout out. We're going to go over this stuff later too. Big shout out to all of you locals who went out in front of District Attorney Morrissey's office to protest. I was watching on Tom CPU's channel as much as I could. You guys are fucking fantastic, and you are amazing, beautiful, fantastic people fighting for not just your own, but everybody's First Amendment rights. Because what's going on in that motion filed by Morrissey is absolute and utter bullshit. And you guys standing up for yourselves in that and standing up for all of our freedom of speech in doing so, I applaud you. So we're still going to be waiting. For them to come back. I think he's back. Let's listen in.
This he's got the police report. If you want to see the whole police report, you can see it. And her spokesman's comments are in the globe. She didn't have a comment. Her spokesman had a comment. Who knew she had a flack of her own? But you can go to tbdailynews.com if you want to read up on this case. It's fascinating what's going on. And Turtle Boy, where can people go if they want to donate to your defense fund? Because you're jammed up too in this case.
Yeah, they can just go on my Twitter account at Dr. Turtle Boy. And it's pinned right to the top. The Give Send Go.
Cherry, drop that in the chat.
I want to ask you. I haven't had you on the show since Auntie Bev, the judge, Beverly Canone, issued her ruling that Michael Pass the Gravy or Meatball Morrissey would not be removed as the prosecutor here. But I just want to read you some of the comments that she made about his behavior when she said he should not be removed from the case. Some of his comments are clearly inconsistent with rules of professional conduct. Prejudicial effect on the proceedings run the risk of heightening public condemnation of the defendant, meaning Karen Reed. He crossed the line of permissible extrajudicial statements, but yet she's letting him stay on the case. That's pretty damning. I mean, that's about as damning as what the Inspector General said about Rachel Rollins when she was removed as the U.S. attorney for going on my show just to discuss a sentencing. There hasn't even been a trial yet.
Right.
And he's saying these things.
I mean, it's wild. I mean, that's why today a guy by the name of Paul Cristoforo is leading protests at the district attorney's office frequently now. He had a big one today. NBC News is down there. Well over 100 people just marched in circles around his office today. I mean, this is embarrassing to have the district attorney's office regularly ticketed by people because you're so corrupt. And it's just wild that Auntie Bev Canone, basically says in that whole, order was a big smackdown on the district attorney saying he did everything wrong. He was completely inappropriate, but
Right.
we don't know if it's prejudiced the jury because the jury hasn't been picked yet. So we're going to let it slide. And it's just, it's wild that the judge and the district attorney are allowing this sham to go to trial. I mean, it's going to be a joke of a trial. You're going to see I'm here for it. I can't wait to watch it, but it's going to be like no trial you've ever seen before. You're going to see witnesses taking the police officers taking the fifth, star
Thank you,
witnesses
Cherry.
incriminating themselves. It's
I've
gonna
only
be
seen it
wild.
once in my life, and I still remembered it was revered detectives being asked if they'd taken bribes, one after another, taking the Fifth Amendment. Yeah, it is memorable. It's must see TV or being in the courtroom to see it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. I mean, it starts in 2 weeks, and I think it's a sham this is happening. God knows how much this is going to cost the taxpayers and Karen Reed. And at the end of the day, she's going to be acquitted. No jury on earth is ever going to convict her of this. And that's not justice, because at the end of the day, that just gives the district attorney's office a chance to throw their hands up in the air and say, well, we tried. And John O'Keefe will never get justice that way.
Can you take a question? A couple of people got questions for you here.
Absolutely.
Andrew, you're next with Howie Carr and Turtle Boy. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hello, Howie. Hello, Turtle Boy. I don't want to change the subject, but it's a direct connection. Turtle Boy, if anything good comes out of all of this, it's that the Sandra Birchmore case is coming back to light, and I think there are a lot of the same players involved.
He just posted
a bit?
Andrew, he just posted something on Sandra Birchmore. We haven't got much time left. Tell people about Sandra Birchmore, Turtle Boy.
Yeah, Sandra Birchmore is a girl, a 23-year-old woman who allegedly killed herself in 2021. She was pregnant with a baby from a Stoughton police officer who groomed her and had sex with her since she was 15 years old. She was passed around that department like a sexual object. And it is widely believed that Matthew Farwell, the Stoughton police officer who has since resigned, murdered her. And there was no investigation. The same corrupt.
We have no
cops
proof of
involved
that. We have no
covering
proof.
up
That is
murder.
just an allegation, Turtle Boy.
Okay, so that's my opinion. So, but the same. What's a fact is that the same players involved in the John O'Keefe quote unquote investigation are involved in the Sandra Birchmore one. Lank, Fanning, Garino, and Kevin Albert. They're all involved in that.
And the FBI is involved now too, investigating both cases.
Yep. And the AGO took over because Michael Morrissey's office couldn't be.
Do we know that the FBI is
to apparently run that
investigating Sandra
So
Birchmore?
I think that's a great sign for the Karen Reed case because there's definitely a connection between the two, and the fact that the FBI is bringing up this 3-year-old alleged suicide and taking it seriously tells you that they smell something.
Yeah, and I'm going to check tomorrow with the state retirement board, Aiden Kearney, to
Thank
see
you,
if
guys.
any of these state police officers have put in their retirement papers yet. I think it's only a matter of time, don't you?
We'll see. We'll see, Howard.
I'll check. I want to put it on their radar screen at the state retirement board. Thank you, Aiden Turtle Boy Kearney. I'm Howie Carr.
Wow. Right on. Turtle Boy was just dropping these fucking just straight up like it's just like flowing out of him. That was an excellent interview. Yeah, totally insane. So Jesus, man. So this woman hits Helena Rafferty, the chief of police in Canton, the current chief of police in Canton, who was driving a town-owned car that taxpayers pay for, that the select board would have to approve of her driving in another town, and hits a pedestrian, 67-year-old man with a cane and a reflective vest. a reflective vest, and then knowing how this is going to look, requests a breathalyzer test because she knows people are going to talk about it, but yet doesn't say anything to anybody. Doesn't say anything to anybody, and then has someone on her behalf release a statement saying, yeah, I probably should have told somebody. And make no mistake, people, this is just another page in this saga of what's going on in Canton revolving around the John O'Keefe murder. This is just another page that was brought to light by Turtle Boy's own investigations. He absolutely broke this and put that out there. If it wasn't for Turtle Boy, we would not know that Chief Rafferty was driving around in a taxpayer paid for vehicle of the people in Canton, where Chris Albert, who did 6 months for killing someone, waited till the next day. So when he took a breathalyzer test, he would pass. So he couldn't get a manslaughter charge, and did 6 months. And now sits on the select board. Sits on the select board where in the town of Canton gets basically final say over any major decision that takes place in that town. Anything that money belonging to the town gets spent on, who they hire. I mean, down to a crossing guard. I was surprised. I was listening, I was streaming and watching live a select board meeting where I was just like, a fucking crossing guard? And people in the chat were correcting me and going, yeah, Will. Like, the select board approves anybody who works for the town of Canton, they have to approve it. The select board has to approve it. I was like, what? It was a crossing guard. So you're going to tell me that the select board didn't know that Chief Rafferty was using one of the taxpayer dollars vehicles as her own personal mode of transportation to get around and do whatever the fuck she was doing? Like I said, maybe, I don't know. Look, maybe she was looking for pieces of taillight somewhere. I don't know. What else? What else are chief of police's doing official things unofficially? What else are they doing? I mean, chiefs of police. I mean, they don't need to, though. And you sure as fuck, you know why you shouldn't be taking them home? So that you don't hit pedestrians with them, especially elderly ones with canes and reflective vests. That's why you don't want them to do that. It should be at the very least frowned upon by the select board, because it's definitely frowned upon by the people of Canton who pay for it. It's 20 miles. Incredible. This is so much fun. I got to tell you. And I have some thoughts about what Turtle Boy was saying as far as the trial. Like, in theory, I agree with him, because I mean, I've thought the same thing this entire time, that, okay, if this does go to trial, and I've said it, I mean, countless times, if this does go to trial, there's no way you're going to get a jury to convict. But it dawned on me recently, and I think what really struck this thought, what really triggered this thought, were Auntie Bev's most recent motions, the denials of these motions to disqualify and dismiss. Now, as Howie Carr even pointed out, Howie Carr was saying same thing that we've been saying here. When we read that, we're like, well, she totally admits She acknowledges in detail, acknowledges what Michael Morrissey did was absolutely the wrong way to go. And then yet just decides that it's not a good enough reason to disqualify him, even though everyone wants this. Everyone. So, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. But my fear is that now that we know definitively, now that we know that Beverly Canoni is perfectly capable of spitting in the face of justice on paper in an official court document, now that we know that she's capable of this, now I wonder, because she's the judge and she gets to determine what evidence the jury sees and what evidence the jury doesn't see. And that concerns me. Now, I might not be too concerned about it. I asked Melanie Little in her chat last night what she thought, and she said that it was basically, yeah, I mean, it's it's a concern, but she's so under a microscope right now that I don't think that she can imagine that we can imagine. Because hopefully the theory that Beverly Canoni simply wanted this to go to trial for clout, for recognition, for notoriety. If that's the case, then we don't have anything to worry about. Karen Reed doesn't really have anything to worry about. But if there is corruption, which at this point, I am of the opinion that it's very likely, to say the least. It's very likely. I can't imagine why someone would blatantly spit in the face of justice the way that she has throughout these last 2 years. It makes no sense. It doesn't add up. Like I can feel the fire inside David Yannetti's chest and inside Alan Jackson's chest every time they have to be so respectful to Judge Beverly Canoni. I can feel it. I can sense it. I can smell it. These guys cannot fucking stand having to cater to this woman's ego and have to take the shit that she's been doing, which is the decisions that she's been making, because I don't think that she's made a sound decision yet. Or at least, and when I say a sound decision, that means making a decision on emotion and then following through. She's made good decisions on motions, but she doesn't follow through, because what happens is the prosecution will not follow through. She'll order the prosecution to share certain parts of discovery. The prosecution will fail to do so with a ridiculous excuse. And then she will just let it go. And then she will laugh and joke about it. So there's something seriously stinky about Judge Beverly Canoni, I think it's fair to say, at this point. So, not a lawyer, but it reeks. It absolutely reeks. I'm going to go over, there's another YouTube channel that I don't know. I'm not familiar with this YouTube channel, but I'm going to share their info. So do me a favor real quick. Well, let's hear what he has to say first. I mean, I guess that's not fair. I'll share it here. Go ahead and like it. You can go back and unlike it. You know what I mean? If you don't like what he has to say. But I'm going to stream him because he ends up having somebody who I recognize being on Court TV's panel at one point discussing this case. So this guy's called True Crime MTN. I don't know this channel, but we're going to watch him real quick, see what he has to say.
Ellis, co-founder of the Midas Touch Network, coming at you from our true crime channel. I want you to check out this latest video from defense lawyer and legal expert.
All right, so I guess MTN stands for True Crime Midas Touch Network. Gotcha.
Rick King. You're going to want to see this.
This team will not quit. Never. The good people of this county will not quit. Never. And I can guarantee you, Karen Reed and her family will never, ever quit. Never. Not until the truth comes out. Not until the John O'Keefe's killers are brought to justice.
There's a lot going on in the Karen Reed trial. I'm Rick King from the law firm of King Morse in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I'm going to bring you up to speed with what's going on in the case of the murder of John O'Keefe. Prosecutors have charged Karen Reed with the murder of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe.
I've seen this guy on a panel on Court TV, so I'm curious.
Say that Karen backed up and
I'm curious about what he has to say here.
Ran over John in the driveway of the home of fellow Boston police officer Brian Albert, and then left him in the snow to die. Defense lawyers for Karen Reed have filed a motion to dismiss in the case. Essentially, they're asking the court to throw the case out. The motion to dismiss is largely based upon the results of a federal inquiry into the state police's investigation of this murder. Yeah, the feds are investigating the Massachusetts State Police's handling of the murder investigation. Now, defense lawyers claim that prosecutors during the grand jury presentation distorted the facts or withheld exculpatory information from the grand jurors. Now, the grand jury is the prosecutor's game. The prosecutor presents the evidence to the grand jury any way they see fit.
Right. Now, what the defense was arguing was that they had omitted very important information that could have been exculpatory to Karen Reed. That could have been exculpatory to Karen Reed. So the defense is claiming that prosecution misled the grand jury in order to get an indictment. And it sure fucking looks like it, doesn't it?
There's no defense lawyers in the room to test the strength of the government's case. There's no cross-examination of the prosecutor's witnesses. There's no challenging of the prosecutor's exhibits. It's all prosecution all day. Lawyers often say that in the grand jury, a prosecutor can indict a ham sandwich or a brown paper bag. Now, I know my colleagues on the prosecution side of the table are giving me the side eye, but at least some of the claims made by the defense.
All right. Now, he's reading this. I'm not going to hold it against him. At least he took the time to write something. When I first started doing live streams, I pre-wrote what I was going to say. And then I was just like, this is for the fucking birds. And I'd rather just, like, how am I supposed to connect with people, like, really on a real level if I'm not just speaking my thoughts? Who cares if I say So this gentleman right here, he pre-wrote this, but I like that because I think he just wants to be very careful about what he's saying, and that's cool. I'm not going to hold this against him. He's a professional. He's an attorney in that sense. So, I'm interested in what he has to say.
Defense seem to have merit. For example, the defense
he's delivering it very well, like as if he's, making a YouTube video. He's right. So he fooled me for a minute, and then I was just like, no, wait. He sounds like me reading shit, but better.
Defense calls into question a conflict of interest involving the first officer to respond to the scene. The first officer to respond was Sergeant Michael Lank. Sergeant Lank works for the Canton Police Department. The defense lawyers are alleging that Sergeant Lank has a relationship with Brian Albert, the owner of the home where the incident took place. The defense says that back in 2002, Brian Albert was involved in a bar fight in Canton, and Sergeant Lank somehow used his authority or influence to protect Brian Albert from some criminal liability that might have arisen from that bar fight. The defense is saying that that makes him biased in the case because he has a relationship with Brian Albert and that he's potentially not credible. Now, as a former police officer, I can tell you that the first officer that responds to the scene is privy to a lot of information that's often very valuable because people blurt things out to that first officer. And sometimes what they blurt out or what they said, they may want to change over time, especially if they should become a suspect. Also, that scene is still fresh, and there's always the possibility of evidence left unattended. And evidence that's left unattended can sometimes disappear.
He was
There's a reason that the first
Lank was the first one to enter the home, I believe, though. He wasn't the first on scene, but he was the first to enter the home. And the only one, I think.
First officer to arrive has the job of establishing a secure crime scene. I can't tell you how important Lank is to this case, and if for some reason he's found not to be credible, or they can establish with the jury that he has a relationship with the Albert family and that anything he says is to be side-eyed, man, that's going to cause a problem. Now, the defense is also claiming.
Yeah, he's probably, I mean, I'm not going to hold that against this guy, and I'll explain why. I don't think that he's that familiar with the case. You know, for me, man, it took me a long time to be able to differentiate which Alberts were which and McCabe's. And I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of names in this case. Like, I thought there were a lot of names in the Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow case. I thought there were a lot of names in that one. There's by far many more in this case that matter. So I'm not going to hold it against this gentleman for that. I think he's more focused on the legal aspects and how these people being involved with each other is absolutely a conflict of interest. So I think as long as he seems to know what he's talking about on the legal side of things, if he gets a name wrong here and there, I'm not going to worry about that. But yeah.
Claiming that there's a credibility problem and a conflict of interest, potentially with the lead investigator from the state police, Michael Proctor. During the federal probe, text messages between Michael Proctor and his family were discovered, and those text messages have ties to the case. One of the text messages was received 10 days before John O'Keefe was murdered. In that text message, Michael Proctor was speaking with a family member about having a member of the Albert family babysit for him.
Yeah.
The second text message came 3 days after the death of John O'Keefe, and that was between Michael Proctor and his sister. In that text message, Proctor's sister had spoken with someone named Julie, who's a member of the Albert family. Julie wanted Proctor's sister to tell her brother that, hey, after this is over, she wants to buy him a gift. You have gift buying and you have a potential suspect in the case. You're asking to babysit your children. Man, that shows like some kind of relationship that you probably should have disclosed to the prosecutors and to the other investigators, especially your supervisor in this case. Now, the state police have opened an investigation into Michael.
He's making solid points. You cannot argue with that.
Proctor as well. Now, they're not saying exactly what it is, but they're saying it's policy violations. Typically, investigations of police agencies are confidential and they're protected until the investigation is completed. So I'm not surprised that right now the police agency is being tight-lipped about what the policy violations are. But if these policy violations are related to something involved with this case, the results of the investigation could be devastating. And not just for this case, but any case that Michael Proctor has been involved with. Because they're questioning the integrity or the impartiality of the investigators. And so if Michael Proctor is found in this case to have somehow been compromised, the rest of his cases are compromised too. Does anyone remember OJ, what they did to the detectives in that case?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What did I say before about OJ? Okay. With OJ's fucking, and it's different because OJ was guilty as fuck. Okay? OJ was guilty as fuck. But the thing is I've said this 100 times. The defense attorney gods were straight up just smiling on Johnny Cochran. And I mean, like, they were just, it was just, as soon as fucking, I don't know what happened, but Mark Furman being who Mark Furman is, and the information landing on Johnny Cochran's lap about Mark Furman was just like, Johnny Cochran had just the gods of defense attorney smiling on him. It was over. There was no way that you were going to get, and I mean everything about it, not just his attorneys, but I'm talking about the fact that the fact that the LA riots had just finally cooled down, and the LA riots were all about cops getting away, with beating a man of color on camera. I mean, and a bunch of cops on camera, and then being arrested and charged, and then getting acquitted. So of course people flipped the fuck out. The whole city was on fire. I remember this. I mean, I was living in Miami at the time, but I remember when this was happening. Yes, Rodney King. And nothing could have came together more perfectly for OJ than everything the way that it came perfectly together for OJ. Like, it's just how that is. The difference here is the evidence dictates that the evidence in the OJ case dictated that he was guilty. I mean, there was blood evidence. Thank you for the bembo, Scott Antonio. I appreciate you. And the evidence in the Karen Reed case dictate that she's innocent. And on top of that, you have what OJ had, though, which was enough, and you had corrupt cops, or at least a cop on tape admitting to being a racist, admitting to planting evidence on suspects for racist reasons. I mean, it was insane. It was insane. Like, they had him on tape saying this stuff. That doesn't happen in real life. That doesn't, I mean, if somebody were to fictionally write that, they'd be like, that's not even believable. They'd shit can the idea and then move on to something else. But this happened. So here you have all kinds of evidence that Michael Proctor did a shit investigation and is railroading Karen Reed, either because he is a shit investigator and he's just trying to railroad her in order to cover up his shit investigating, or B, which more evidence points to, that he is trying to help the McAlberts. He's trying to cover up their shit. He's trying to sweep their shit under the rug, because that's a sound motive for what we are actually seeing, which is Michael Proctor railroading Karen Reed. So, I mean, this is where we're at, folks. And I just worry about Bev, because, I mean, with all of this corruption, with all of this shit, I mean, who's to say Auntie Bev isn't in someone's pocket too? I mean, I'm trying to just make sense of her shitty decision making this entire time. I'm trying to make sense of it. I don't have any evidence that she's dirty. I just feel like she is.
Because they tapped their credibility. Not only that, Michael Proctor is the lead investigator in this case. He's driving the bus. This investigation goes where he wants it to go. Both the lead investigator and that first responding officer, man, they're so important to this case. Like, many of the witnesses are going to go through those that lead investigator or that first officer who arrives. And if this case goes to trial, I expect the credibility of both Proctor and Lank to be central themes of the defense. Now, the defense is also talking about a Google search done by Jennifer McCabe.
I think that that's absolutely true. I think that that's absolutely Alan Jackson and David Unetti's intention is to make both Lank and Proctor, and not just the two of them, Tully, Buchanan, everybody. I think he's planning. I think they're planning on putting the spotlight on all of them, including Michael Morrissey. I mean, there is an open investigation into Michael Morrissey's office. So, yeah, it would be, in theory, foolish for Alan Jackson and David Unetti to not absolutely use that to the fullest advantage to exonerate their client. On top of the fact that the reasonable doubt for days and days and days and days and days. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's crazy how much reasonable doubt is in this case. Again, I just worry about Canoni. I worry that she is going to make decisions that I worry about what she's going to allow the jury to get to be exposed to. I worry about that. Because again, I don't trust the decision making that she's been making. I just don't trust her sense of decision making at all. She's been making nothing but bad decisions this entire time. So, and when she joked about it, about not doing anything, about the fact that the prosecution doesn't follow up with her decisions on these motions, that told me that she's just not even taking the prosecution and these allegations seriously at all, regardless of how much evidence is there. This is scary, man. It's scary that this judge is doing what she's doing. Like, all right, let's get back to this real quick.
McCabe. Jennifer McCabe is Brian Albert's sister-in-law. The defense lawyers say that Jennifer McCabe Googled how long to die in the cold. Now, when she did it, there was a misspelling of the word how, so it ended up being HOS, house long to die in cold. But more importantly, the defense alleges that this Google search happened at 2:37 in the morning, hours before John O'Keefe was discovered dead in the driveway. Prosecutors argue that the Google search was later in the morning after the body was found, and they say it was done at the behest of Karen Reed. They say Karen asked Jennifer to do that search. Now, the defense is denying that, but they're also saying that when this information was presented to the grand jury, that the grand jury wasn't told that it was at 6:30 or later than 2:30. They weren't told a time at all. In fact, they were told they didn't have a time for the Google search. But the biggest bombshell in this case is the federal investigator's report from an expert witness. The feds hired an accident reconstructionist to examine the damage to Karen Reed's vehicle and the injuries to John O'Keefe. The expert opined that the injuries to John O'Keefe are inconsistent with the damage to Karen Reed's SUV. In other words, the car didn't cause the injuries to John O'Keefe, and John O'Keefe didn't cause that damage to the car.
Which means that Karen Reed did not hit John O'Keefe with her SUV, which means that Karen Reed is absolutely factually innocent.
So the question is, how did he get those injuries? Now, lawyers for Karen Reed say there's more evidence.
Now, unless they pull up video footage of her hitting John O'Keefe, I'm saying she's innocent. Unless I see definitive evidence, again, that I cannot shed any doubt on. Definitive evidence. She didn't do it.
It's coming from this federal probe. They're expecting more than 3,000 pages in the coming days. For their response, the prosecutors did something a little out of ordinary. The Norfolk District Attorney, Michael Morrissey, released a statement to the public on the matter, reaffirming his confidence in the investigation. Then he appointed a special prosecutor who promptly arrested Turtle Boy, a blogger who's been covering this case. Prosecutors are saying this is a three-card monte trick. They look at this relationship, look at that relationship. They're saying that defense lawyers are distorting the facts in a way that lives in this social media realm. I guess we're going to find out. If the judge doesn't grant the motion to dismiss, the case is set for trial on April the 16th.
Yeah.
Listen.
I am absolutely of the opinion that the overall purpose of charging Turtle Boy and getting him locked up was to hurt his credibility to a jury. So much evidence was uncovered by Turtle Boy that if the defense presents this evidence to a jury and then the prosecution discredits Turtle Boy, well, then that evidence means shit to a jury. See what I'm saying? So if a jury is sitting there, has no idea who the fuck Turtle Boy is, nothing, and all of this evidence about the McAlberts and the Proctors having personal ties and Lank, all of this shit, if the jury hears all of this, then the prosecution gets to go, well, it was this guy Turtle Boy who spent 60 days in jail for intimidating witnesses. And the law is there. It's not like the defense can prove that they locked up Turtle Boy without a valid law. The law is there. The problem is the law is unconstitutional. And the problem there is how much is Karen Reed's defense going to discuss Turtle Boy's case? Are they going to do what I did and go the length of what took me 5 live streams to go through every charge and find every video with every timestamp and disprove every single charge? Is the defense for Karen Reed ready to do that? You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on how the jury takes Turtle Boy's credibility. It all depends on is the defense willing to defend Turtle Boy's credibility against the prosecution's plan to attack Turtle Boy's credibility to the jury? That's going to be a big question. Because make no mistake, Turtle Boy's case and the Karen Reed case are absolutely connected. And when there was any doubt, the moment that there became no more doubt that they were connected, that moment was brought on by the prosecution when they put Turtle Boy's name in their opposition for dismissal or for disqualification. So they were the ones that brought Turtle Boy into the Karen Reed case. They were the ones that seized Karen Reed's phones. They were the ones that ended up, as far as Turtle Boy goes, putting his name on an official court document in the Karen Reed case. And then saying his name in the hearing to discuss the oppositions and the dismissals and the disqualifications. So, I mean, my question is, will the prosecution's efforts work? this absolute railroad job that they did, charging Turtle Boy the way that they did, falsely, I might add, because again, we went over those charges. They absolutely railroaded Turtle Boy. So they falsely charged him. Will the defense be willing to save the credibility of this particular witness? Because I'm sure the defense is going to call Turtle Boy to the stand at some point. They would be fools not to. But considering that the prosecution is using Turtle Boy, I could see the defense calling Turtle Boy to the stand and being like, hey, let's ask you this, 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 and this. And I would expect it to take a while. But I'm wondering if they're willing to do that. I'm wondering how far they're willing to save the credibility of the person who provided them with evidence.
I fully expect the judge to deny the motion to dismiss. These are great trial issues, but I don't think.
Okay, so this is obviously before her denial.
They rise to the level, to the point where the judge is going to not allow this case to go to a trial. I believe this case goes before a trial and the defense makes hay of all of those issues that we talked about and then some. Because remember, there's more coming. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the likes, and remember to give the king a ring.
Well, I hope you liked that video, and if you liked it, please subscribe below. I'm Ben Mycelis. Thanks for watching.
I mean, did that dude? Okay. Okay. Wow, man. I've only been live an hour and a half, man. Let's check out Tom's video for a little bit. Actually, no, let's look at that for a second. And then I'm going to show you guys, we're gonna find some of the news stories and the news coverage of the protest that took place outside of the Norfolk County District Attorney's office.
Yeah, calm. You know, I'll talk to you, Jim.
55 on the last head count.
I like that. He made the shirt. He's famous now. That's badass.
And we're not going to watch this. We're not going to watch this for very long. I just wanted to show you guys how beautiful this is. I mean, these are the locals, man. And they're protesting the fact that Michael Morrissey filed a motion. Lally filed a motion on behalf of Michael Morrissey, basically requesting that the judge basically ban these people for 500 yards of the courthouse. Anybody who is saying free Karen Reed, anybody who's saying anybody who has it on a shirt, anybody who has it on a pet. I saw, we may not see it here, but I saw somebody had a pet parrot and had a free Karen Reed little sweater on the parrot. Thank you, Cherry. I'll check now. Appreciate it. All right. Okay, Cherry, why did you send me okay, I don't know what that is, and I don't know why you sent me that. It's not related at all. It doesn't seem like. So yeah, so basically it's an absolute, I mean, it's an absolute attempt to get the judge to violate everyone's First Amendment rights. I've never even heard of that, where a district attorney had the audacity, especially one under federal investigation, had the audacity to try to implement a ruling like this that just absolutely impedes on everybody's right to freedom of speech and assembly. It's absolutely disgusting, as a matter of fact. And, you know, kudos to these people, because they were like, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take the protest to your office. We're going to take the protest to you, you fucking piece of shit.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. Where are we now? 533.
Okay, thank you, Cherry.
Nice. Nice. Working on it. More people keep coming here. They just keep coming and coming and coming. It's pretty cool.
Don't do it, Cherry. Don't do it. Look at all those people, man.
Who else is streaming this?
I don't know. I get an update from my friend.
Okay. I don't know. We have no idea. I have no idea who's streaming this. Oh.
I'm not paying attention.
I love this. I love seeing the American flag. I love all of these people with their signs standing out there on the road, cars honking. Look at that. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. And everybody's
the
being
weather gods
peaceful.
shine down on us today.
Everybody's being peaceful.
Beautiful out.
Everyone's so kind. I gotta tell you guys, there's so little right now. There's so little right now that makes me truly proud to be an American. There's so little happening in the world that makes me truly proud to be an American, is a better way to word that. And this is one of those things that when I see it, I'm absolutely I'm overwhelmed with a sense of pride. And I'm so grateful to all of those people for doing what they're doing. I'm absolutely grateful.
All right, we're going to begin this half hour here on NBC 10 Boston with some developing news in the high-profile murder trial against Karen Read. A group of Free Karen Read supporters you see here gathering today outside of the Norfolk District Attorney's Office to protest a motion that was filed last week by the state. That motion looks to stop the public from gathering directly around the courthouse and from wearing certain clothing. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. I'm Colton Bradford.
I'm JC Monahan, NBC 10's Kirsten Glavin. Joining us live, we're demonstrators. We're hearing they're
I love
fighting
this.
back, Kirsten.
That's right. As you mentioned, this is in response to those
And I love that it's a 3-minute segment, too. It's not one of those bullshit 30-second ones.
proposed restrictions around the courthouse. You can see some demonstrators are still out here right now. We're learning the group has also gotten an attorney involved, and they're in the midst of filing a motion fighting for their voices to be heard. Marching around the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, Free Karen Read supporters gathering to protest against a motion filed by state prosecutors that calls for new restrictions at trial. If a judge approves it, demonstrations would have to be back 500 feet from the courthouse. And people would not be allowed to wear any attire that suggests a favorable or unfavorable opinion of either party.
Wow.
That includes animals.
Michael Morrissey should step down. He's corrupt.
Now, I love, you can always kind of sense the language when there's news stories trying to shift, you know, like it's being opinionated without being opinionated. It's the way that she says things. And that includes animals. I love it.
And his little crew of Mass State Police detectives are running around the countryside terrorizing people.
Many saying the move is unjust and against the
Is
First
that Scott
Amendment.
McGinnis?
This has been a bad.
That was Scott McGinnis. Hold on. Let me play that one more time because that's my homie, bro. That's my homie. I get to see what he looks like.
Opinion of either party. That includes animals.
Michael Morrissey should step down. He's corrupt. And his little crew of Mass State Police detectives are running around the countryside terrorizing people.
Many saying the move is unjust and against the First Amendment.
This has been a bad display. They're weaponizing the laws in this town.
Reed is accused of fatally hitting her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with an SUV in 2022. Her attorneys claim it's all a police cover-up. This former Canton police sergeant of more than 3 decades also speaking out, alleging an integrity problem in the Canton Police Department.
It's cut and dry to me. There's no way that she committed that crime. And as it came out the other day in court, the car didn't hit him and he didn't get hit by a car.
The group also working on filing a motion through an attorney.
As a group,
I love
we
this.
raised some money. We hired an attorney. The attorney name is Mark Rindonza, and he's going to be representing us in some sort of fashion.
We caught up with that attorney who intends to put forth the motion Tuesday morning.
If we take them at their word at what they're trying to do, they're trying to kill a fly with a shotgun. But I think what they're really trying to do is they're trying to hide from the public that a lot of public opinion is not with them.
Now, we did reach out to the DA's office for comment this afternoon, but have not yet heard back.
Oops.
There is a special meeting scheduled for April 4th where a judge will consider these courthouse restrictions. We're live in Canton tonight. I'm Kirsten Glavin, NBC 10 Boston.
Oh my goodness, folks. Oh.
We're exactly 3 weeks away from the start of the Karen Reed trial. Today, Judge Beverly Canoni heard 2 motions. The defense's request for interview notes held by investigators, which the prosecution argues is work product that should not be shared, and the Commonwealth's request for the defense to hand over their reciprocal discovery.
As soon as the Commonwealth gets finished with their compliance obligations, we will then comply with our discovery obligations.
That holdup appears to be centered around DNA testing, specifically DNA testing on hair from the back of Reed's SUV the prosecutors have alleged was used to back up into Reed's boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, leaving him dead in Canton during a January 2022 blizzard.
Initial estimate as far as the testing was would put us several weeks out. We had asked that it be expedited. We had paid for it to be expedited. And the quickest that they can turn around a report would be sometime in mid-April.
But Reed and her defense team claim she's
Shut the fuck up, you cunt! Shut it!
the victim of a cover-up and argue O'Keefe was beaten inside a Canton home and that O'Keefe's body was planted in a snowbank.
It's been a hell. 26 months, it's been a hell. And if we have to go to trial, we will clear this up.
And while the defense continues to fight for the case to be dismissed and for District Attorney Michael Morrissey to be disqualified, we did get an estimate today of how long a trial could take.
Based on what I know, if the Commonwealth case takes 3 to 4 weeks, I think our case would probably take 2 weeks.
Now, Karen Reed did not make any comments as she exited the courtroom today. As for now, this trial is still scheduled to begin on April 16th. Reporting live in Dedham, Matt Reed, WCVB News Center 5.
Wow. Yeah, man. Pretty wild, man. Dude, this is just getting fucking crazy. Like, now, I can absolutely assure you guys, especially a lot of you guys weren't here for my live stream earlier. I'm beginning a very, very challenging diet, and a lot of it entails not eating at all. So a lot of intermittent fasting, and so you can count on the fact that I'm going to be live a lot in order to keep my mind and keep myself occupied so I don't eat. And yes, when the trial starts, I will definitely be streaming that trial. So this is completely fucking out of control. Just the fact that now we know that Helena Rafferty fucking hit a 67-year-old pedestrian with a cane and a reflective vest with her car, didn't say anything to anybody. It was a month and a half ago. She didn't say a word to anybody. I mean, when this place, Canton, the town of Canton is under a microscope right now. Anybody with any power in the town of Canton right now is under a microscope right now. And this woman thinks it's a good idea to try to sweep this under the rug, and then releases or gets a statement released on her behalf, I should say, that, yeah, I guess I probably should have came forward sooner considering everything. Yeah, man. So on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. Big shout out to Turtle Boy for uncovering yet again another very, very vital piece of information coming from the corruption in Canton. Big shout out to him. And guys, big shout out to you. You guys are fucking fantastic. I love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with me as much as you did. For those of you who hung out earlier, and thank you guys for hanging out with me just now. It means so much to me. Appreciate you guys. All the support, all the likes, all the new subscribers. You guys are fantastic. And again, I'm going to go live as much as possible just to keep myself occupied. So you can count on the fact that we will do this again very soon, my friends. I love you.